Hello everyone, welcome to this session in our CA 1.1 Financial Accounting. This is December 2022 past paper and we are looking at question 2. As you know, in CA 1.1, question 2 is always compulsory. This is the same with the question 1, which is multiple choice. So in December 2022, we had question 2A. This is the question we're going to solve in this particular session. So question 2A reads, Mwalula is a sole proprietor with a small business. Below is a list of balances of the trial balance extracted as at 31st December 2021, which failed to agree. So we have purchases with that figure, we have payables with that, we have sales, discount allowed, receivables, sales returns, expenses, non-current assets, bank overdraft, capital, VAT liabilities. And then we have the required here which says prepare the trial balance for Malula as at 31st December 2021 and derive the balance in suspense account as at 31st December 2021. So this is an interesting question that we are going to go through tonight in this particular session. So this particular question has got 5 marks, and if you ask me, this is a free 5 mark that you need to grab by all means. So when you're answering questions in financial accounting, you are racing against time, you are also racing against accuracy. So it means you have to be as quick as possible, and at the same time, you have to be as accurate as possible. So now I am going to open my PowerPoint presentation so that I can beam the solution where we are going to solve this particular question. So before we get to solve the question, let me just introduce myself. My name is Mr. Wata Jeremiah, and this is Shumba Training Center Limited. So let's get started in today's session. Now, the question is asking us to come up with a drafted trial balance, and then it is asking us to show the suspense account balance. Okay, so this particular trial balance that was drafted by Malula, a sole proprietor, failed to balance. As you know, the trial balance is there to show us the balances of all the ledger accounts in the business. So the trial balance is there to tell us whether all our financial accounting records are correct and accurate. So this particular sole trader came up with a trial balance and it actually failed. Now we are being asked to redraft the trial balance and then to ensure that we come up with a balanced trial balance. Now let's get started. So I'm going to draw a nice table to show our calculation. So let me just draw a table over here just to show you how it's going to be. Now let me just make this a little bit thicker. It's the pen is a bit thin, so let me just make it a bit thicker. Okay, that far, that's fine. Okay, so now let me draw the line once again. I hope you're able to see my screen. So the line continues all the way up to here. Then we can even bring it down over here like that. So I'm just drawing the table so that we can come up with a trial balance. So let's put another line over here. Okay. Okay, let me just redo that. Let me just redo it very quickly so we don't waste much time. Okay, let's put another one over here. All right, perfect. Then the last one over here. Perfect. Now let's put here, of course we know we put our debit here, which is DR, and of course the currency here is what? A K, meaning kwacha. Then over here let's put CR for credit, and the currency is a K. Okay, so now we can even do something like this just to separate these two. Okay, so now let's start now picking the items one by one. So when we get back to our question, let's just go through the things that are here. So the first item here is what? Purchases. Okay, so now let's put purchases right here. Now let me make it a bit thin because the pen looks a bit thick. Okay, so now let's write here purchases. Okay, so we write our purchases right here. Now, our main focus here, our main goal is to put these transactions in the correct side, either a debit side or a credit side. Okay, so now our purchases is supposed to be on the debit side. Okay, so let's put our value for purchases here, which is 450. 450. So this is the figure for purchases. So the purchases are always a debit balance. Okay, now let's go to the next item. The next item is what? Payables. Now when you look at payables, a payable is a liability, and liabilities are all credit balances. So let's put a payable right here. So for those of you who may not know what a payable is, this is an amount that the business is supposed to pay to its creditors. Okay, so with the value for the payables is 445. So 44520. So that's the figure for payables. So I was saying payables is an amount that the business is supposed to pay, or it is an amount that the business is owing. Okay, so after payables, let's just look at the question. Next, we have sales. Now, sales always has a credit balance. Please take note. Sales always has a credit balance. So let's put our sales over here. And the figure for sales is 213,390. Okay, 390. So this one right here is the figure for sales. Now, sales is always a credit balance. Now, before I continue, do not make this mistake that I've actually made in this video. What mistakes have I made? You see at the top here, I have not put the heading of this account. So let's put here Mwalula's trial balance. So let's say Mwalula's trial balance. Mwalula's trial balance. Mwalula's trial balance as at 31st December 31st December, this is supposed to be a C, 31st December 2021. So that is the heading of this account. So before you start putting up anything inside here, ensure that you put the correct heading. For all the financial accounts that you're going to be writing in this course, make sure that you put the correct heading. It could be a financial statement, it could be a statement of financial position, a statement of income, the statement of comprehensive income, a statement of cash flow, any kind of statement that you're writing, ensure that you put the correct heading. That is going to earn you extra marks. So I've put our sales right there. Let's check the next item. The next item is discount allowed. Now, what is discount allowed? Okay, so discount allowed is a type of discount that we have actually given to our customers. Okay, a customer buys something, then you give them a discount. It's a discount allowed. Okay, so now a discount allowed is an expense. Okay, where it's a reduction on the revenue. We are supposed to get maybe 10,000 kwacha, but because I've given them a discount of 500 kwacha, we're going to get 9,500 kwacha, for example. So it's a reduction on the revenue. So it's more like an expense. Therefore, it is going to be what? A debit balance. Okay, so let's put here discount, discount, discount allowed. So there's discount allowed and discount received. So when it's discount received, it's more like we are the ones who have earned it. It's more like a revenue to us. And you know, revenue is always a credit balance. That's why I have sales right here. So sales is revenue, and revenue is always a credit balance. So let's put our discount allowed, and the figure for discount allowed is 2220. So we have 2220. That's 2,220 kwacha. That's the figure for discount allowed. Now let's move on and look at the next item. The next item is what? Trade receivables. Okay. Now what are trade receivables? Okay, these are amounts that we are supposed to receive from our customers. These are people that bought goods from us on credit, and now they're supposed to pay us. We are expecting this money from them. We have not yet received this money, but we're expecting it. So it is an asset. So it is a receivable. Okay. So let's put here, below here, it's a receivable. Okay. So let's put here receivable. Now, since it's an asset, a receivable is an asset. Now, since this is an asset, it's going to be having a debit balance. So let's put 158,000 according to the question, 158,000 550 kwacha 550. So this is the receivable, or the amount that we are yet to receive from our customers who bought things on credit. All right, the next item here is what? Sales returns. Okay, sales returns. So now the good part about my classes is that I do explain a few things before we can actually make an entry for you to know what exactly is happening. So sales returns. Now, what is a sales return? Now, I'm going to put a little illustration here. So this is the person A and this is the person B. Now, this person A has got items that he is selling. Now, he sells some items to person B. Maybe he sells two boxes of maybe two boxes of any washing paste or something. Then it discovers that this B, this item here is damaged according to B. Now this B gets this thing and returns it back to A. Now before this item was returned, in the books of A, he had already recorded an invoice, okay, an invoice containing all these three boxes. Now when this person B returns this box, is going to create what? A sales return. Is going to make a sales return entry in his books to reduce on the sales that were recorded on these three boxes. So this sales return, it is going to be a debit balance. Why? Because when you look at sales right here, when you look at our sales here, it is a credit, it's a credit balance. So to reduce a credit balance, we are going to debit. Okay, so when you have a credit entry and then when you're trying to reduce it, you're going to do what? To debit it. So a sales return is reducing the value of the sales. Therefore, we are going to do what? To debit a figure for sales return, and that is 6,300. So now you see that this sales return is reducing the value of sales. Perfect. Now let's see. Let me just erase this illustration. I hope you have understood the illustration I gave about sales returns. Now, the next item on our agenda is what? Expenses. Now, expenses always have a debit balance. Okay, so let's put our entry here for expenses. Expenses. Now, the figure for expenses is 32,000. Let me just write it properly. 32,130. 130. Now, expenses always do have a debit balance. Please take note. Now, let's move on and look at the next item, which is what? Non-current assets. These are otherwise known as fixed assets, but they are non-current assets. So now, non-current assets, just from the name itself, you can hear that these are assets. So let me just write down here. So let me write non-current non-current assets. And the figure for non-current assets is 68,250. 68250. The next item that we have is according to the question, we have a bank overdraft. Now, what's a bank overdraft? This is a situation whereby we have overdrawn our account more than what is there. For example, if we have a 10,000 kwacha in our account, then we get to withdraw maybe 11,000 kwacha. So that 1,000 kwacha difference is a bank overdraft. Okay, so the bank overdraft, it's more like we are the ones who are owing the bank, so it is a liability to us, and we know that liabilities always carry a credit balance. So let's put our bank overdraft over here. So we say bank overdraft. Okay, so put our bank overdraft over here. Let's put our line, over here, and another line over here. So bank overdraft Let's put our bank overdraft over here in the credit balance, which is 9420. 9420. Okay, after bank overdraft, the next item we have is capital. Okay, now what is capital? Now capital is an amount that the owner, in this case it's a sole trader, so this is an amount which the owner has pumped into the business. So if you have maybe a 50,000 kwacha and then you want to start a business, you are going to get that money, maybe rent a shop or buy some items for sale or just buy some equipment or do anything to get the business started. So that money that you have put in, that is the capital to the business. Now, in the context of the business, that capital, it is the business that is owing you. So it's more like a liability to the business. Okay, so to you as the owner of the business, it is your money that you have put into the business, and then the business is owing you. Remember, we know that the owner and the business, they are two different entities. So now you starting the business doesn't mean that you and the business are the same. No, according to the accounting standards, you and the business are different entities. So to you, that money is your asset. To the business, that money I've put into the business is a liability. That is why capital is going to carry a credit balance. Now capital, according to the question, the figure for capital is 37,500. So let's put 37,500 over here. Okay, so that is an amount for capital. Now let's look at the next item. We have a VAT liabilities. Now, what is a VAT liability? This is a tax that we are supposed to pay to the government after we subtract our own input VAT. So VAT, the way VAT works is that we charge VAT on our customers through the sales, and then we are also charged by our suppliers through the purchases that we make. Now, when we do the subtraction, the money that we spent on purchases through VAT minus the money that we charged our customers through sales. The difference, if it's a positive, we give it to ZRA. If it's negative, we claim a refund. So in this case, the liability here is the positive amount that's remaining. So let's put our VAT over here. So let's say VAT liability. Let me just write it properly. VAT liability. So the VAT liability here is how much? 18,960. So 18,960. So let's put so a liability is going to be a credit balance. So 18,960. Then now, when you look at the question, the required section of the question says, and derive the balance in suspense account as at 31st December 2021. So obviously there's going to be a suspense here, okay? There's going to be an amount that's going to go to the suspense account. So our task is to actually find the sum of the debits and the sum of the credits, then find the difference. Then we're going to put it either here or here, depending on which one is bigger. So let's get to the first part of the question, first part of the solution. Now, right here, let's get our calculator. I like to do it on the screen while you are seeing how I am actually doing what? Typing the figures. So let's start with the debit side. We have 66450 plus, the next one is 2220 plus 158,550 plus, the next one is what? 6,300. 6,300 plus, the next one is 32 130 plus 68 250. So that is what we have on this part, on the debit side. We have nothing on the other part of the screen. We have nothing. So let's just take note of this amount. We just write it somewhere so that we compare it with the other balance. So we have 3. Okay, calculator has disappeared. So 333,900. Okay, so 333,900. Okay, now Let's now compute the credit side. Let's get back to the first part of the screen, the credit side. So let me just drag this calculator over here so that I can just do a proper calculation. So we have 44520 plus 21, sorry, 213,390 plus, let's check the next screen. What do we have on the next screen? We have got three entries, so that's plus 9420 plus 37500 and plus 189 60, and then we hit enter. So we have 32790, 323,790. So we have 323,790. Now let's compare the difference. Okay, so we say minus 333,900. So the difference is 10,110. So now let's compare. This part here is a debit and this part here is a credit. So this part here we have 339, sorry, 333,900, and then here we have 323,790. Obviously this one is bigger than this one. So the difference is what we are going to put on the credit side so that the two can do what? Can balance. And what's the difference? The difference is 10,110. So I have 10, 110. So that inside here we put the total, which is 333,900. Again here 333,900. Now let me just clean up this part so we can have a neat and tidy work for our submission. Now let me erase also this. Oh, okay. Let me just do this just a little bit. Okay, so point eraser. Let me erase this and this. Just rub everything that has remained over here. So even here, okay, let me just erase everything over here. Okay, so perfect. So now so this means that our solution ends right here. What we have done here is we have drafted the corrected trial balance, which has actually balanced, and then we have also derived the value of the suspense account as per question requirement. So now when you do this in an exam, you can even smile knowing that knowing fully well that this particular 5 marks is yours. Okay, now we also have another question down here, which is which is asking us to prepare a suspense account, okay, based on these transactions that are here. Now, this is going to be covered in the next video, but for this part of the video, let's end right here. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, my name is Mr. Wata Jeremiah. I'm so honored to be with you in this particular session. Thank you for now. It's bye-bye and see you in the next session.